Good morning. It is the day after the full moon, January 24th, 2025. My name is Eliza Vries. I live in Los Angeles, and before I started today's video, I lit a red candle, deep red candle, to symbolize the root chakra in our bodies and the sense of people feeling at a survival level with the fires going on, because whether we have personally been evacuated from our home or not, we have been watching red skies and winds and devastation and loss over the last week of our lives. So what that brings up in us is a tremendous fear zone and a sense of community being destroyed and a sense of beauty being lost. There was nothing more enjoyable than driving down to Sunset Boulevard, going through Pacific Palisades, and all the beauty of the nature and the homes, going down those curving highways past glorious hiking trails and stables at the park there, and that's all been destroyed. But then further down, we came to the Self-Realization Center, which was Yogananda's place of writing. It has a beautiful lake there. It's called the Lake Shrine, and it's just above the Pacific Coast Highway, and it has a tremendous sense of peacefulness and natural beauty, glorious gardens, and just a sense of coming down from the external world. So to see the fire start there, we were all in tremendous angst that the Self-Realization Center itself would be destroyed. This is bouncing around here on my video camera. And we had this sense of destruction that was about to happen in our most peaceful zone. That was saved and was not affected. They had their own setup there, but we also, it seemed to be, for some reason, divinely orchestrated that remained safe. That pillar of beauty and restoration and spirituality is still there. Thank God for that. But going back to the fires, I've had calls from all over the world, calls from friends, calls from clients, calls from people in utter distress, like why did this happen? Well, if we go to a scientific evaluation of it, we will know that, number one, we haven't had rain for a year. Number two, we live in an area that is covered there. We have 470 miles, square miles of Los Angeles. Out of that, 20% are areas where there's immense brush. There are hillsides, there are mountains, there are glorious trees. And when you don't have rain for a year, and last year we did have immense rain, which created a huge growth in that underbrush, then at a physical level, the combination of hurricane level winds and that tinderbox of just the slightest spark spreading that fire acres within minutes, it was a tragedy, and it went on to hit 5 main areas of our city and is still burning. So that's going to the physical, scientific, climatic level of the fire. As to the spiritual or level of the fire, or the psychological impact of the fire, or the loss of homes and beauty and livelihoods and ancient trees and etc., etc., that we will individually figure out. So sort of a collective sense of loss amongst those in our city right now, a sense of trauma, because whether that fire burnt down your home or not, we're all part of this city. And so there's been an inspirational part of the response of people within the city community. It's not just been individual communities that have responded. It's been people coming from all over the world to respond to our situation. People coming from Mexico, people coming from Canada, people coming from South Africa, people sending, for example, there's a place I used to go to down on PCH called Reel Inn, which was the most marvelous fish and chips place, and that was listening to the owner of that speak today. It's been completely destroyed. It's been there for something like 36 years within her family. And she said that she was getting money sent to her from places as far away as Scotland or places in Europe, people that had come there and had a memory of going there, and were sending for the staff that have lost all their jobs there a fund me. That's just an example of the way that community has come forth, not just locally, not just Angelenos, but Americans, Canadians, global communities responding to the tragedy of what we're going through right now. Personally, I refuse to acknowledge the contrarian response of our president-elect and Fox News. I found it appalling, and I don't want to go into it. I don't want to go there. I don't want to put my focus on anything that's not going to be an uplifting direction today. And one of the things that, just to think about one home, because some people have made comments, well, some of these people were very wealthy, they had homes right on the ocean, and this, and all this destructive commentary that's come forth about the loss of homes for the wealthy. But I would like you to look at it from the perspective of beauty, the perspective that some of these homes were created as architectural masterpieces, that some of the people in these homes were very creative souls that are writers and painters and film people that have created a great community for not only our society, but a worldwide community of creativity. If you walked into those homes, there were exquisite paintings. If I think of the Will Rogers estate in the Palisades, this glorious hiking place, there was the Will Rogers house, and in that was some of the greatest Western art that we've ever seen in our world. People like Remington that did these incredible bronze sculptures, and Charlie Russell, who did incredible horse imagery of Indians and cowboys in that encapsulated 20-year period of the Wild West. He captured it on canvas, and they're just works of art. So we lost beauty, and beauty is one of our inspirational passageways back to our soul, and just the natural beauty of the nature, because this 20% area of the city where there were hills and mountainsides and brush, these were the areas that were the most profoundly hit and struck by the fires. So I just wanted to briefly talk about that today. Our fires are still going on. They're more contained than they were. And what does containment mean? Containment does not mean the actual whole area of the fire is contained. We're talking about the borderlines of the fire. So if you hear that a fire is 33% contained, it means 1/3 of its border and usually they will strike the border that is the most likely to create future harm and harm the most people. So those are the borders that they're trying to contain first and foremost. Then they go to the other borders where the more wild country is. I was saying to some of my friends that one of the most endearing images I saw of the fires was a little herd of goats that somebody had kept on their property in the North Palisades, coming down through Mandeville Canyon. And here's this little herd, and they put them all in a truck and took them to a safe domain. Goats are incredible creatures for cutting down the brush. I think it would be marvelous if a lot of those people had goats on their individual properties. And I used to have goats, and I would set them free and on our property, and they would literally cut down all the excess brush that was part of the issue for the fires. So anyway, I just wanted to end by choosing a card for Los Angeles of not the purpose of the fire. The purpose of the fire is, if we look at it from a left brain, it's all that, weather, climate, etc., which is a powerful breakdown of why this has spread so vastly and hideously. But we need now, as a community, as a global community, to look at the broad spectrum of the disaster areas of our world. I know I was looking at the Ukraine, and then I looked at Altadena here and the Pacific Coast Highway, and it looked just like Ukraine, the devastation, or Gaza, the devastation. I saw the other day of looking at Gaza, where they were showing masses of rubble, of just cement rubble, and little children playing on the rubble, playing with bullets and missiles that had, landed there. This is what they were dealing with. So this is not just an Angelino issue. This is a global issue. We need to look at a broader, higher perspective of destruction. We're on the brink of bringing in a new president, and and I'll go into that in other videos. But we need to understand the power of community, and that little child sitting on that bomb, that dead missile with the words United States of America written on that missile, that is also part of the tragedy of our world today. Or looking at people in the Ukraine freezing without any power in their certain areas, or warmth, and how to start over. This is all about a resurrection of each of us right now, of us looking at, fire representing that fire and wind. I was saying to people, we're moving 2 days before the fire. I was saying to a friend, we're moving this year from water and earth, where we had a lot of issues with floods and water, into fire and air. And what did we confront 2 days later but the hurricane level winds and the incredible, destructive, out of control nature of fire. So I'm just going to draw a card for us on this day, as we face personally our own fear zones and our own sense of insecurity, and our understanding of community. And the last thing I did want to mention is that we've had this incredible outpouring in Los Angeles of people donating clothes, supplies, blankets, their homes, Airbnb people providing homes, offering monies to people to get back on their feet, people joining together. I ask, why do we have to come to this state to understand that we are a community beyond Republicans and Democrats and religious affiliations? We are humans in our beingness, in our becomingness. What will we become now? I'll just choose a card now for us. This is an amazing card. This is a card of, let me see if I can get it right up there. It's a card of letting go. You see, she's holding up all of her, she could be letting go of thought forms. She could be letting go of perspectives. She could be letting go of all of her belongings, as many as about 18,000 people have been asked to do in our city. She could have been letting go of what she considered to be losing everything, finding out she still had a certain sense of her family, her own physical well-being, it also is, if you look at it as a female force, Mother Earth, with the fires burning above her. What is that message for us from Mother Earth? How do we have to shift our perspective of our relationship to Mother Earth herself? This is a vital time when we have a president coming in who has no respect for the environment whatsoever. Maybe this is our time to stand up for Mother Earth, for the beauty of the wild preserves, of how we can turn into co-creating with Mother Earth rather than raping her. So I leave you with that. I think that was a most appropriate card because, you know, when you get right down to it, one of our major lessons here on Earth is about letting go. We have to let go and let go and let go. And ultimately, the last thing we let go of is our breath. So perhaps we're all going to think a lot about letting go and what is it in our own personal lives that we need to let go of? Is it a perspective? Is it a letting go to make room for more of the spiritual essence of beingness? Is it letting go of patterns of how we've always viewed things to be? Is it letting go of our ego? Is it letting go of our judgment? I've seen a lot of judgment lately about the people that have lost their homes, and that's been pretty nasty. Is it letting go of our intrinsic belief systems that have held us back from understanding our oneness with all of humanity and with all of life itself? Let's all join together in visualizing not only a restoration of our city that we're sitting in right now and looking at with incredibly sad and reflective eyes of remembrance, but let's also look globally and realize all of these things are connected one with the other. The rubble that we're seeing in Los Angeles is the rubble that we're seeing in Gaza, is the rubble that we're seeing in Ukraine, is the rubble that we're seeing in war zones or areas of great climatic disasters. Let us grow in mercy and wisdom. Thank you.